My name is Hank McGrath, Caroga Lake, New York, Executive Director of BAD, Bikers Against Discrimination.
I'm going to turn the camera on and we're just going to carry on the conversation now.
You have it.
Why are we here, Hank?
Well, first of all, we're here to share an honor with Lawless America, who's on a venture, a very important venture, all right, that represents the cry and the pain of the people here in America, those who suffer judicial misconduct, political misconduct, and corruption, the effects thereof. Now, in our association, in my contact of Bill Windsor and Lawless America, I was concerned that I spent many months contacting civil rights organizations regarding the rights violations of those in the American biker culture. Majority of all the agencies, whether they're federal, state, or nonprofit agencies, were predominantly, and by no fault or by no design accused, are predominantly run in a fashion that serves African Americans. And it seems that the civil rights laws and the application of civil rights in defense of any other group in America does not apply except for African Americans. I think we've reached an age where the society, all right, being blinded by propaganda by the government, old propaganda, mind you, regarding bikers and motorcyclists and biker clubs, we've reached an age where society is now opening their eyes slowly and seeing that the propaganda is untrue about bikers. Because in a family of 5, one is a biker. In every neighborhood, there's bikers. Bikers, one of their main fortes and functions is to raise funds for those in need in the community. They're always there to help people, and they're always there to rescue people, even though one or two, from time to time, may make a mistake, as in any community, as in any family. And so, when I received no assistance whatsoever from civil rights agencies and organizations here in America, I realized that we had to make a major move, a strategic move, one of which was to contact Bill Windsor of Lawless America. And that's what we're doing here.
Well, I'm honored, and it's a privilege and a pleasure to meet everybody. What wonderful folks. And I will never forget pulling out of the toll booth and being met by all those guys on bikes and who just sucked us up like we were a cocoon and brought us here. It was an amazing experience. So it's, anybody who spends any time with any of these folks realizes they got hearts as big as All Outdoors, and the camaraderie is just phenomenal.
That's right.
And there's no way anybody could be around this if they ever wanted to be part of something and wouldn't see that and feel like they wish they had it.
That's right.
I can see people going out and get a bike just so they can try to be involved.
Yeah.
So you contacted me, and I guess at first it was to find out whether I was legitimately interested in helping bikers.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what I said, but I said I'm interested in helping anybody.
That's right.
Who's been victimized.
That's
and
right.
These guys obviously have been big time.
Yes.
So, did you know Tyler and Joey before?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so how long have you known?
Now understand now, all right? This is not a correction. This is very important for the public to know. Bikers Against Discrimination, all right? Like this is like the second or third time I've ever been in this clubhouse. Even though we work with civil rights issues in defense of the rights of all bikers, we don't get assimilated into the culture. Most of us are not even bikers. We're civil rights advocates. We fight for civil rights. And so, even though I knew Tyler and Peeps, I knew them as men who shook hands the old-fashioned way, as men who looked you eye to eye, as men who were in the Highwaymen MC, that I met, as well as thousands of other bikers of all different clubs, from Hell's Angels to 69ers to on and on we could go. These two individuals, as well, if I may insert this, I knew when I met them that the law was wrong, that when what happened to them, the injustice was actually wrong, because I've been a much worse person than either these guys could ever be, all right? And so I knew these were good people when I met them. Yes.
Right. So you didn't know them until after they were arrested?
No, I knew them prior to.
Oh, did you? Okay.
But as gentlemen, neighbors, people I may potentially defend later.
So what do you think of the tape?
Well, I was disgruntled in the sense that when you watch the tape, you can see the aggression by other parties. As I explained earlier, that you have a catch-22 situation here where the parts of state agencies act as though they're acting under federal law by calling bikers gangs, biker clubs gangs, all right? When the state approves of their existence, zoning board approves of their existence, these clubs, they have perfect right, license on the wall. I mean, they are clubs like the Elks Club, like any other club you can imagine. And but from the back door in the federal, they're a criminal enterprise, allegedly. And so I knew, right, that by watching the tape and hearing the case, that in some way the state attorney general's office and the federal government were involved in sanctifying them being classified, two individuals being classified as committing gang assault. May I remind you, one of the biggest corruptions is this. Though they were forced to cop out and plea bargain, all right? They plea bargained under an indictment as gang assault. Gang assault in the state of New York is 3 or more.
There were only 2.
There was only 2.
They didn't assault anybody. They were assaulted.
That's right. They
One guy
defended
was
themselves.
assaulted and the other one defended.
That's right. So even though you take a plea, it's like if I commit an armed robbery, 1st degree, and I take a plea to the 2nd degree, it doesn't change the story of what they're charging me with, the 1st degree. Do you understand what I mean? They don't go back and rewrite the charges. And I find that extremely corrupt, because they should have went back and rewrote. Instead, in these guys' files, is they still committed a gang assault. Still are violent felons, and still would be treated on parole as if they committed a gang assault. And the tag gang is put on the highwaymen, MC, through these 2 brothers as well. This is the kind of activity that matches Hitler and his Gestapo. This kind of activity. And in America, we have that going on. It's happening to a lot of cultures, but it's prominent in the American biker culture.
Hitler and Gestapo got a big asterisk.
Yeah. That's true, though.
Yeah. Why do you think what happened to Tyler and Pete's happened? What do you think was behind it? This would be your opinion, obviously. So, in your opinion, what happened?
In my opinion, and my opinion comes from a different profession than others who had testified. I have not only been a violator of the law, all right, and openly, publicly say so, because I was raised by the government. I didn't have family. My family was the government. Juvenile systems, court systems, prison systems. So I know that side. But I'm also an investigative reporter, also worked for the courts, also investigated courts, and worked on many different projects. So you see, I've worked right there with DAs and judges, sat in the chambers, and know the dirty work there. I've seen cases in which lawyers have come in and pleaded with the DA and the judge, all right, to accept this time for this one fella, and he'll burn the other fella on the other charge. And they all agree, neither guys know each other, you know, on the 2 different charges, and they think their case is being heard in court when it was heard in the back room right there. That's how majority of them are done, and they do that under the guise of expediting the system. Now, anyone who works in the court can't deny what I just said is true. You know it's true, all right? So I knew that here you have a rinky-dink place. Here you have some bikers who mind you, in this fight, walked away and didn't press charges when they themselves were defending themselves and were assaulted. They were the Americans and said, fair fight, you know what I mean? Don't come against me next time, you know? And walked away, and the police didn't arrest him or anything else. Later on, they go and arrest these guys because it's a whole big good old boy system. You understand? The owner of the club is also a teacher at the school. The police officers' sons are under the teacher and on the football team, and on and on. We just web it all together. When it comes to the court now, anytime you have a situation where you have bikers, 1% club, 1% club, mind you, that is the hierarchy. That's not 1% and 99% of the bikers are all heaven. And no, the 1% is the heart and soul of the culture. When you want to put together a club, you got to find out how it's done by the 1%ers, the ones who started it, the ones who keep it running. They have the rules, the policies, the regulations, the way it goes, the honor, the pride, the integrity. They make it happen. And so when you start a club, you learn from them how to do it, whether you're an outside riding club or anything else. This is the way it works. So in court, you have a 1% club sitting in front of you now. You arrested these guys, all right? Now you can make a name for yourself. The judge can make a name for themselves. The DA can make a name for themselves now because they have a 1% club, all right, that associates with all other 1% clubs, which are listed under the Patriot Act and other acts, all right, NDAA, all right, et cetera, as enemies of the country, potential terrorists, all right, and gangs. Now you're talking about funding. You're talking about the potentiality of funding from the feds, all right? Just by convicting these two, you look good. Getting an office like the DA did, who convicted him, he's now the judge. He's now the judge. This is an amazing thing. Not long after, too. He's now the judge. And that's just about the biggest crime, all right, that he covered was the one they made believe in the Tyler and Peeps case. Okay? Now, I could see, you know, to the public, I appeal to you, all right? You're welcome. Just contact free1percenter.com, all right? Or contact lawlessamerica.com, Bill Windsor, and he'll get in contact with me. We can give you the details on the Tyler and Peeps case. This is not a case where two bikers showed up at a place and started beating people up. It's the opposite. But the initiation of the attack began on a guy who couldn't even hear or speak very well and didn't even see it coming, didn't even know you were talking to him, is disabled. Is this the America we live in now? That's lawless. I should have said that.
All right, do it again.
Is this the America we live in now? That's lawless.
In Stafford County, Virginia, a silver-haired black woman came and sat down, and I knew her name but didn't really know what the story was all about. And she'd been indicted as a gang leader. Has 20 grandchildren, indicted as a gang leader.
Yeah.
She and her daughter had been trying to expose the gang task force in this county for improperly targeting Hispanics and blacks who weren't members of gangs.
That's right.
So they show her, they indict her.
Yeah.
Even worse, one of her granddaughters had the misfortune of stopping her car in a fire lane. Did I tell you this story?
No.
I'll tell it real quick and then we can get back to you. Stopped her car in a fire lane, 7 months pregnant, was applying for a job at a clothing store where a friend of hers worked. Stopped the car, kept the motor running, walked up to the entrance where the other girl was waiting, handed her application, went back to her car, policeman's there. This is in a strip center, an outdoor mall. Fire lane? But, you know, it's, I guess anything can be called a fire lane if you have a parking space. Gave her a ticket. Well, she hadn't been able to pay a speeding ticket, so she has a suspended license. So she got 3 years in maximum security prison. She gave birth to her child with both legs and one arm shackled to a hospital prison bed. They immediately took the child away and adopted it out. and she had another child, and they took it away. She served her entire 3 years next to people who she said one of the stories was one of the women said that she was in there for killing her babies and eating one of them or something. Started eating. It's just horrible stuff.
Yeah.
Retaliation for her mother and grandmother.
That's right.
Trying to expose the gang task force.
That's right.
So here they're calling the bikers.
Yeah.
Again.
Again.
Just,
When they're legitimate clubs, recognized as legitimate clubs from state and from all other agencies and from all other places. Matter of fact, organizations, Save Children, all these kidney fundraising and all these other fundraising organizations, they don't say, no, we can't accept your thousands of dollars you raised for us because you're a criminal enterprise. So which is it? Are they actually outlawed criminal enterprises? All right? Or are they clubs like any other club? You know what I mean?
well, Tyler and Peeps have never been convicted of it.
Never been arrested for anything.
And there's probably some guys in the club who are. I've learned that almost everybody I interview has been.
It's interesting.
Almost
Yeah.
all of them.
Well-
They have two things in common. Almost all of them have been arrested. And what was the other one I was saying the other day? Something else. They almost all only have not even 2 nickels left to rub together after they lost all their money with lawyers or whatever.
That's true.
else. So it's a crazy world in which we live.
Yes, it is.
The grandmother, the boys had a cart club. So I guess it's cart clubs too.
Yeah, you see?
You got a lowrider or something.
Yeah. But see, this is what I'm trying to show the public.
Culture.
As I said in a speech before, all right, and you've heard this speech said about Jews and other people. They come for the Hells Angels, they're coming for you. They come for the highwaymen, they're coming for you. They come for the 69ers, they're coming for you. Everyone, they're coming for you. If you're organized, if you're a family, if you're a brotherhood, if you're together, they are coming for you because they need everybody separate and apart and programmed because it's a lawless America. Not lawless down here, lawless up there. Can I get a light?
Sure.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. I'm even running because of the time code, so it doesn't matter.
Brother, can I have a quick light? Thanks, bro. Match. Thanks, bro. I'm wired in here. Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Hank, what's interesting is the 1%er.
Yeah.
The 1%er. I had never heard the term before you used it, so
Okay.
I looked it up.
All right.
And when I was interviewing Steve, I said, "Is it an honor or a slam to call you a 1%er?"
That's right.
And he said it was honor. I said, "Okay," because I put it on the website. I was hoping it was.
Yes.
But of course, if you read Wikipedia or something, it says they're the bad guys or whatever. The truth is, the 1%ers are part of the 99%. We
That's right.
really only have 1% in America, I figure, that are the wealthy corporations,
That's right.
the super wealthy people, the politicians
That's right.
who have the connections.
That's right.
And they control things, except at the ballot box. And if we can ever wake up the 99%, we do have the power to change things. It'll be close to impossible. But hopefully people seeing stories like this will make a difference. But the highwaymen and the Hells Angels and the 69ers,
That's right.
they're all nobodies just like I am.
Mm-hmm.
We're part of the 99% that doesn't count. You guys get, the bikers get a shorter end of the stick. I asked one person earlier, I'll ask you the question. Can you imagine being black and being a biker?
Yeah.
That would be really tough. You got to.
Yeah, that's what you would assume. But in Myrtle Beach, all right, every year there's a season where the black bikers go down there, the African American bikers go down there, and the word out by the authorities is hands off. Because civil rights by authorities and agencies are only applied to African Americans and Hispanics. Do you understand?
So they have it better than
So
a
they
regular
actually,
biker.
many of them do have it better. But that's going to change with Bikers Against Discrimination, with BAD. all right? And back on another thing, just so I can mention something, all right? It's sad, but I'm telling you, the public, you rely on your voting. You rely on the ballot box. You rely on the people, all right, outside of yourself. When you forget that the greatest form of government is the family system. The children you raise, you must breed out the government. You must breed the new breed of representation. The people that will make the world a better place for the next generation are your children. And so every family is a government, and there is the greatest form of government, and that is what the government should reflect. And the only way that can happen is to breed them out.
Breed them out.
Breed them out.
I was there with my wife in Myrtle Beach. I don't know why we were there during that biker deal with the black bike. We saw them everywhere, and we'd start seeing motorcycles, and we saw everybody riding them was black.
That's what it is.
That was it.
Yeah.
Oh, they had the whole road.
And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, right, when they're hassled, they have a pending suit right now against Myrtle Beach from years ago. But when they're hassled, right, there's certain areas, like BAD was involved with Port Jefferson in Long Island. They wanted to pass a law in their village, no motorcyclists and unsightly motorcyclists allowed in their village. Well, Myrtle Beach has the same kind of thing. Well, BAD and a number of other organizations and groups got together and wiped that clean. That never happened. Beach Bend, Tennessee, all right, out that area. They have a sporting event, which is primarily run by people like AMA, American Motorcycle Association, who's the ones who first accidentally termed 1%ers by saying, well, 1% like to start trouble, but 99% like to, and the government picked that up, right? So these guys, since they're going to be called 1%ers, right, they took it and created it with honor. And to this day, the center nucleus of the American biker culture is your 1%ers. Without them, the biker culture would be a recreational culture. It would have no generational factor, no American history factor. You see, these things are important, okay? So 1% is important.
What all needs to change? You talked about what needs to change broadly, and you and I have talked, I think it was off camera, about the legislation. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes. We, BAD, again, takes strategy. We study, like anthropologists, right, the history of the American biker culture and the history of other cultures. A lot of us, like myself, I've been trained in the past by movements such as, people involved in Black Panther Party, all right, and other groups. Our personal associates of mine are people that educated me throughout my youth, all right? And so I apply those techniques in understanding the violation of civil and constitutional rights. When you look at the American biker culture, immediately you see the word culture. You check and verify. You look up what culture means. You see, oh my God, this large group of people, not just one club, but all the clubs put together, and the fashion in which it happens, not just summer, but winter too. These people are all together. This clubhouse doesn't close in the winter. You know what I mean? It's a lifestyle, third, fourth generation lifestyle, and a part of American history, like cowboys or like ranching, like rodeos, like a lot of different cultures, all right, in America. And it became apparent to us that the word culture needed to be applied in every single state in the United States in the human rights law for protections against violations of human, civil, and constitutional rights. When you have violations of human rights, it's unquestionable that civil and constitutional rights are violated. But if you can't prove human rights violations, and what do I mean by human rights violations? When agencies and government forces are saying you can't live the way you're living, and you're a criminal, and you're an outlaw like Billy the Kid and all this other kind of stuff, and they're constantly compressing on you, constantly convicting you, constantly falsely charging you, and acting against you, all right, and treating you as second-class citizens, that's saying you don't have the basic human right to live your religion, your beliefs, your political beliefs, etc., that are all designed under human rights protections, all right? Every state has human rights laws. And we believe that if every state passed the simple word culture as an amendment in that law, so you can't be discriminated against based upon your age, your race, your disability, your sexual preference, your culture. What's wrong with that? That would ensure that we have actually modernized properly with our tolerance, our civility, and our understanding to get along with one another and accept one another and our differences. Ladies and gentlemen, let's stop farting around. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Okay?
Yeah, let's stop farting.
Let's stop farting around.
Or like the little 9-year-old girl said.
Yeah.
Government, shut up.
Shut up.
Do what's right.
That's right. That's right.
I have, in this legislation we're presenting to every state, we're asking that pro se parties, people representing themselves in court, be treated as a class, because currently there's no rights whatsoever.
Yeah.
And yet in Georgia, in a federal court for the last 32 years, no pro se plaintiff has ever won. They're totally discriminated against. You have the right to represent yourself, you automatically lose.
Yeah.
Whether you were right or wrong or indifferent.
That's right.
So I respect the concept of the culture, and there's probably other people probably know of some cases of something that exists as well.
Yeah.
Clearly the car clubs in Stafford County, Virginia,
That's right.
and you probably have that other places too.
That's right.
Yeah, it seems to be a tendency. If a group of people get together, then there must be something wrong with that.
Yeah.
The only place I see that is in the Congress.
Well, that's
There's something wrong with all those guys.
That's interesting. I do want the public to understand. Just like motorcycle clubs meet and have a clubhouse and get together and have runs, so does the high upper class and higher echelon have their places where they meet, have their clubs, and have their runs. It's not any different. Yeah. It's just they're doing it on your buck.
Yeah, they may do it in a Porsche or a Mercedes.
They're doing it on your money. All right? These guys actually are taxpayers, hardworking, all right? You don't have motorcycle clubs with a bunch of welfare freaks in it. It don't exist, all right?
What needs to be done in the Tyler and Peeps case? Is it over, or should somebody step in to do something? If so, what should they do?
Well, it's a serious injustice, and the way the system is set up is federal civil rights, all right, can actually step in and to this day can overturn their convictions, can set them straight if civil and constitutional rights are recognized as violated. I understand there is a civil case going on, all right, against the premises, but I still believe that in this case, by what you can witness, there is enough testimony. Another factor that may not have been said during the testifying is that for their side, the police didn't question anyone. Witnesses came forward. They didn't take down their statements.
Wow.
It was a pure set-up case. They got a bunch of statements from everyone in the bar who happens to be all interrelated, okay? Family, and nothing. Everybody who went to give their statements in this case, no statement was ever taken. And that'll show in their legal work, all right? This is enough for somebody from the federal government, Civil Rights Division, would actually look at that and say, something's wrong with the picture here. And you see, that's what the judge, that's where judicial corruption comes in and misconduct comes in. The judge oversees the case, not to sit there and give you your punishment at the end of the show, to make sure that procedures are followed properly from beginning to end. And in the beginning of this case, it is riddled with enough to overturn it.
And when the judge came to have the arraignment, the police notified them what their bond was before the judge ever sat on the bench and heard the first word.
Interesting, isn't it?
How does that work?
It works when you're secretly talked to by feds and the state attorney general that you have the okay and the go-ahead to move ahead like you're some gang enforcement group, when you are blessed in becoming a gang yourself.
Isn't it more often than not the case that if you have the connections, whether it's money or payoff or just relationships, it sounds like the Mohawk situation is just relationships. If you got the relationships, you're going to win.
Oh, without question. That's why breed them out. If you look at it deeply, we're not just talking about your family, all right? Do you know that I couldn't, say I'm a nice, young, handsome man, all right, who's been convicted twice. I couldn't get close to a senator's daughter if I wanted to. You get it? All right, so the point is, under the theory of breed them out, all right, if you really want to change the government, breed them out. I don't have to say much more. Use your imagination. You know what I'm saying, right?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I wish I had the thing here to read.
Yeah.
One of the first stops, it was in Arlington, Virginia, so it was one of the first 5 or 6 cities. A gentleman came, and Wink Taylor, and he said he really didn't want to talk that much, and he really just wanted to read a story. So he pulls out a story and he reads the story, and it's about a cage with a set of stairs on it and a banana, and they put a monkey in. And the monkey gets in the cage, goes up the stairs, and gets the banana. Well, the next time the monkey goes to go up there, they spray the monkey in the face with water. Every time the monkey tries to go up there, he gets sprayed with this water. He doesn't like getting sprayed with the water. He quits going up the stairs. So they put another monkey in. Monkey sees the banana up there, heads up, and the other monkey beats the shit out of him to stop him from going because he knows they're going to get sprayed with water. So they keep doing this. It keeps happening. And the bottom line of the story is, the only way you can correct this, because it's become conditioned. The second monkey then knows, I got to beat the shit out of the third one, and on, is you got to replace all the monkeys at
That's
once.
right.
You got to breed them out.
That's right. Breed them out. And that's why it's one of the funniest theories. But understand, it's not a false theory. I first heard that theory sitting in front of 5%ers, Black Panther Party members, real Black Panther Party members, and other people involved in other groups, all right? Because it was my dream, being raised by the government, to be a revolutionary. I believed that the revolution would happen, just as you've heard about in the 70s, etc. So I became familiar with these people as a young adult and a young rebel. And they pointed out certain factors regarding power, all right? And that's why when we talk about breed them out, they planned in my lifetime and in your lifetime the plan of interacting sexually and producing many white women as possible. It was a plan. I'm not a racist. I'm Irish. I got freckles. It's not fly shit, all right? We sat there. I heard these plans. These plans were propagated by some of the biggest black leaders in America. So what the Irishman Hank McGrath is saying for the American biker culture right now to breed them out has actually successfully worked, is working now for the Hispanics, and has worked for the African Americans, and needs to work for the American biker culture. Breed them out. That's how you're going to change government. That's how you're going to change everything.
All right. Should that be a wrap?
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.